Yo, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. I'm gonna be talking about UAs, man, ultra athletes. This is a dope archetype, man. I actually recently stumbled upon it just because of people on like my Twitch stream and also like a really good friend of mine, Yugioh, also known as Ziggy. He was like talking about how like this is like the only archetype that represents I guess sports in like Yu-Gi-Oh, and like I'm a huge fan of like haiku, huge fan of like Kuroko no Basket, and so like sports animes are like huge for me. Like I really enjoy them, and so like it's really nice to see that there are like a sports themed type deck in Yu-Gi-Oh in the form of ultra athletes, and so I figured I'd take a shot at making my own build and testing the deck out because I know that they're getting new support within Phantom Rage. The thing about this archetype is it's an archetype that if you guys have looked into what sets they have gotten support for, they usually get one random card per set, which is kind of scuffed. I'll be honest. I wish Konami do a better job of releasing support for cards and archetypes like this, but unfortunately, like the thing with this set is that they legit release like every like 1 or 2 years, like they release like one or two random cards. But I think they finally did it right in Phantom Rage. So that's gonna be really nice because the new cards that they received, I really think helps makes the deck a lot better. So without further ado, guys, we're gonna jump right into it. But before we do, I just want to make a quick plug and say that about 45% of you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and so I want you guys to hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell, and of course, comment down your favorite part about this profile. It will help me greatly, and let's become part of like the before 10K gang. But yeah, guys, like I said before, let's jump right into this profile. All right. So here we are, and we're gonna start with the deck, and you're gonna see I have a very weird list. The main reason being it's kind of weird is because I had some theories about this. The theory being that I'll explain into it as we go into the card choices. So we have UA playing manager. I played most of these UA cards as one ofs. Mainly being that they're all hard once per turn effects. And like the fact that they are, I will not. They're not hard once per turn, but like you don't want to see multiples of them in your starting hand. So like playing manager is like really strong. It's a new card that's being introduced in Phantom Rage. It's a pop or it's a skill drain, which is kind of nice. Or like a dark ruler is a better way to say it. And it's the only UA monster that I know of that doesn't have an inherent special summon clause. It's the only one that triggers on other UAs being normal or special, except during damage step, which is kind of nice. This card is honestly like makes the deck a lot better. This card helps enables a lot of OTKs. So you played the board backer because it's a really strong card because with decks in the current metagame employing strategies such as synchros, XYZs, board blocker turns that monster to defense mode and then negates the effect. So it's not as strong against like links, obviously, but it's still a really strong card to have. Next, you play one rebounder. I like rebounder because the deck doesn't have a lot of recursion, and when your opponent strikes or like I don't know attack over your UA monsters and destroy them, you want to kind of have cards that lets you recur them, and rebounder is like a great card for that. You then play one of the Dunker. The Dunker is like honestly one of my favorite artwork ever for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And what Dunker does is he's like all other UAs, inherent special summons by returning one UA to the hand. And when he does piercing damage and when he does battle damage to your opponent, you can actually damage that pop a card on the field. It does target though, but it's still really strong. You play triple Libero Spiker. This is a new card being introduced. It's the only other normal summon that UA is getting. And what this card does is it lets you, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, shuffle any random 5 or higher UA monsters from the deck into the hand, or from the hand to the deck, and then special summon any different UA name from your deck. So, and there is Libero Spiker then goes to your hand afterwards. So the reason why that's kind of nice is because it's kind of like Soliloquist or Silk. It bounces itself back to the hand and it summons a different monster from your deck. The bouncing to hand is really important because it gives you a nice follow-up for the UA Stadium. So this card is really nice. Also, it's an 1800 attack, which is like really big compared to the 1200 attack from UA Midfielder. UA Midfielder is like really strong. It's a card that helps enables OTKs because it's the only UA monster that I know of that actually triggers during your turn and your opponent's turn, or at least like its effect. I'm talking about the ones that like actually are important. Let's like for example, Perfect Ace is only during your opponent's turn. Obvious dunkers obviously would be only during your turn most of the time because you're the one inflicting battle damage unless they attack and crash into it for some reason. And like rebounder, for example, is only during your opponent's turn, and then board blacker is only during your opponent's turn. So like UA midfielder is nice because during your turn, what you can do is if you set up the double field spell combo, I'll show you guys the combo afterwards, but it helps pretty much like OTK your opponent. And then you have perfect ace. This I play this as a 2-off because it's effect to negate. It's not once per turn. So the way you get a second copy of this on the field is generally through midfielder. So what you do is you'll negate with perfect ace. You'll midfielder it back to your hand and summon like another UA or something, or and then you can like Libero Spiker another UA and summon another ace, or you can activate turnover tactics to summon the other perfect ace, and that's like really really strong. You play Terraform because the field spell is really strong in the deck. The reason why I don't play Set Rotation is because Set Rotation, believe it or not, actually conflicts with the deck. If you activate Set Rotation, it actually doesn't. It's actually a false synergy. If you understand how this deck works, it actually swaps field spell a lot, and so like Set Rotation actually stops you from playing another field spell when your opponent has one set. So like Set Rotation is actually not as good as people think it is in UAs. So you just play the terraforming. You play Rhoda because Warriors. You play UA Stadium. It's a new card. It's a Rhoda for the archetype as any UA or FA monster. But the second effect is what makes this card really, really strong. You can essentially reveal a field spell in your hand. You pay 1,000 life points, and you get essentially a double summon. You get to normal summon an additional UA monster this turn. So that's really, really strong. You play Signing Deal because it's a card that enables OTKs. And you hear me saying OTK a lot is because this deck doesn't really strive to like grind or anything like that. You kind of want to like kill your opponent as fast as possible, and UA Signing Deal helps you do that. It gives you the extra body so that you can OTK your opponent. Stadium is insane. This is like the OG field spell for the deck, and it's a card that is not once per turn. So this card says if a UA monster is normal summoned, you can add a UA monster from your deck to your hand. Well, the reason why this card is really strong is because prior to Libero Spiker being introduced into, I guess, the archetype, the only level 4 normal summonable UA was midfielder, which means that like the chance of you opening up like 3 stadium alongside like a midfielder, or when you play 3 and 3 and opening up 1 midfielder, is really really low. And the second effect of stadium is also really strong, is the fact that it gives you it gives all your monsters 500 attack, and that's actually a permanent attack boost, so it's really really strong. Play 1 call by because you just want to like guarantee OTK them. Like if they Ash, it's really really problematic. If they ogre the second effect of the field spell, that's kind of annoying. So you kind of want to have call by for that. Play D Shifter because this deck actually doesn't care about the graveyard. You do a lot of inherent summons where you like flip them up back and forth, like just bouncing and bouncing. So D Shifter is a really strong hand trap, and that's like one of the reasons why like you have a 33% chance to see a shifter in your hand. But when you do, you already know that you're gonna guarantee OTK your opponent. And if you go first and open it, D shift, you can just activate shifter in standby phase, then activate extra. So like you're always, this card just doesn't have any confliction. It's just like a really really strong hand trap. Gamma's really strong in this deck too because it prevents your extra from getting Ash. It also prevents shifter from getting Gamma. So you can gamma your opponent's gamma on the shifter, and then gamma is just like overall very impactful hand trap going second. You have Ash Blossom for like if your opponent hard draws like Raditz Fusion, this deck does have a harder time to out Dragoons, at least like without siding. So you want to have Ash Blossom stop the hard draw on Red Eyes, and then Imperm is just generically really good. It plays around tactics, and it you can imperm your opponent's Anaconda. So if they don't hard draw the Red Eyes, you can like imperm them, and it's just like really really good overall. Then you play extra for consistency because you don't care about your extra deck. For the extra deck, you'll see that I don't play Issel. The main reason being that Issel is very greedy. I also don't play Power Jersey or like the Reynolds package to add Power Jersey at hand because whenever you like link summon or you do any of those stuff, you kind of like lose to more cards. Just sticking the UA monsters on the field is just like more often than not 95% of the time better. So whenever time you make Issel, like that card's gonna get Gamma, Ash. It just loses to everything. Whereas the UA monsters doesn't lose to Phantasme, it doesn't lose to Nib, it doesn't lose to any of those cards, and so that's why like the UA monsters without summoning Isolde is just like more often than not better. And you probably wondering why I don't play Power Jersey, mainly for the fact that it's not searchable. I mean, it is with Foolish, but then I didn't want to main these cards, especially because they're just not as good. Like they're good going first, but like I'll be honest, you're gonna be losing dice rolls more than not, or more often than not. So like, and going first, like these aren't even guaranteed like ways you win the game. So I just play utility cards as Nightmare, Phoenix, and Unicorn. And then I play a bunch of like Maximus targets. So like just Omega, Nova, Intis, Mechaba, and then Roaring Rooster. So the only cool thing about this card is that this card can actually add back any card in your graveyard when it's sent from the possession. When it is in your possession and sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card. It has the same wording as Nova. So for those of you who don't understand, essentially this means if they Maximus and you send Roaring Roaster, you can add and recycle back any card in your graveyard. And yes, that includes Ash Blossom. You can recycle back Imperm, X-Rav, etc. So it's really, really strong. So for the side deck, I play Ice Dragon Prison because it's a really strong card going first. It's one of the best trap cards in the game right now. I played Turnover Tactics because I wanted essentially 6 copies of it going second. And what this card does is, for those of you who understand, is this card is one of the best spell cards in the game for the archetype, but it's just not as good going second because putting 2 UAs on the board is actually really hard unless you open up Godly. And going second, you're going to try to be playing through Disruption, and so like getting the second UA is really hard through Disruption. Well, to explain what this card does is, it has the clause that if you control two or more UA monsters, and it has to be different names, you essentially shuffle everything back on the field into the deck, and then special summon UA monsters with different names. And so that's why you play the second Perfect Ace, just so you get another Perfect Ace on the field. The monsters can attack, and it shuffles your opponent's monsters too. So your opponent can special summon monsters from their deck up to the numbers of cards shuffled into their main deck. So the cool thing about this is if your opponent cannot shuffle back into the main deck, they actually don't get to special summon any monsters. So why this is really good, because in an era where we're surrounded by links, synchros, and extra deck strategies, the turnover tactics can literally wipe your opponent's board, and they won't be able to special summon anything from the deck. And you'll be able to like summon a negate and a pop off Playing Manager and Perfect Ace. So that just makes the card really, really strong. Feels very good because it has synergy with UA Penalty Box. Then you play Meister and DD Crow for like dinos, because God knows that deck needs to get hit on the next ban list. So you play Meister and Crow for them. The reason why I don't play Lancer is because it conflicts with Shifter. So I would have played that card, but I'd rather just play Meister and Crow. Those cards are like just as good against the deck. And so that's pretty much it, guys, for the deck profile. And now I'm going to be showing you guys a combo tutorial. Alright, guys, I'm not going to show you like the new cards in action. So we're going to start with Hyper Stadium. We're going to use its effect to add, I like to add Libero Spiker first. Just especially because if I have like another level 5 or higher in hand, it's a better normal summon in case it gets interrupted. Then you're going to use UA Stadium to basically reveal, UA Hyper Stadium to reveal the UA Stadium in your hand. Pay 1,000 life points, and now you get two normal summons. You're going to activate Stadium, a normal summon Spiker, and then trigger the Stadium to add. From here, you're going to add the midfielder. You want UAs with different names. That's generally the best. And then from here, you're going to activate Stadium again to search. So you get the double normal summon. And from here, you can do a bunch of things. You can get Perfect Ace. You can get like Playing Manager. So I usually just get Perfect Ace because it's like an interrupt. And so at this point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Perfect Ace and summon, and by bouncing the Libero Spiker to my hand. And so on my opponent's turn, I would have a negate off Perfect Ace by discarding a random card in my hand. After that, I'll activate the midfielder to bounce the Perfect Ace to hand and summon the Spiker. I can then activate the Spiker to shuffle back the Ace, bouncing the Spiker to hand. And then I can summon Perfect Ace. Playing Manager. And then Playing Manager can pop a card on the field. So it's like a negate and a pop off 2 cards. Technically 3 because you need to discard 4 Perfect Ace. But that's like a mini combo that you can do. For you guys who don't know. And then if you want to OTK your opponent, what you search is the Dunker. The Dunker is really, really strong. So you'll just go attack. Your special the Dunker, attack, effect midfielder to bounce the hand, and then the UA Stadium buffs all the monsters. You technically need you need like the double field spell combo and any other UA monsters in the hand, and that's usually OTK. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much it. Let me know in the comment section below what else you want to see from this deck, and what your thoughts are with UAs. Do you guys also like enjoy this archetype? This is a very cheap deck, by the way. The core itself is like $5 off TCG Player. And if you do use TCG Player, please use my TCG affiliate code in the description box below. I haven't plugged it in such a long time, but that is a thing, guys. I do have a TCG affiliate code. And also, if you guys are interested in purchasing my very new playmat, there's very few left. I think there's around 10 playmats left. Go to packtcg.com and click on merch. There you'll see my wonderful playmat called Infernoble Bladeworks playmat. This playmat is actually insane. It's designed by Jen from Head to Head Battles, and it's inspired by the anime Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks. Really like this. It's a 2-player cloth mat, no zones, and it's the highest fiber playmat on the market. So, anyways, guys, without further ado, thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.